Nigeria Koko.
Okay, that's true. Okay. Good morning, everybody. My name is Azeez Ismaila. I'll be talking about JavaScript DOM manipulations. Okay, our table of contents is to talk about what JavaScript is, what DOM itself is, and what DOM manipulation is. Then we'll move to DOM methods, DOM documents, DOM navigation, summary of function. Yes. Okay, what is JavaScript? JavaScript is basically a programming language that is one of the core technologies used in web development alongside HTML and CSS. Over 97% of websites use JavaScript on their client side for web behavior, basically just to make a static page become more interactive. All major web browsers have a dedicated JavaScript engine to execute the code on users' devices. In simple terms, HTML is the skeletal structure of the page. CSS beautifies that web page, while JavaScript makes the whole web page interactive. What is DOM? DOM is simply document object model. It is a three-line structure showing the hierarchical relationship between different HTML elements. For example, should I say, in the figure below, this represents a DOM of the HTML documents. And these documents, our root documents is the HTML tag. Or we can still say, yes, our document is the main root element, but we have to start from the tag. While we have the edge and the body tags, they are like siblings node, there's something they call node. Since they come from this root, our root element, our root node, which is the HTML. Then furthermore, they have their own children nodes, child nodes rather. But the other title and the elements, our body elements as the H1 tag, the anchor tag, the H1. DOM manipulation. This is a platform and language neutral interface that allows programs and scripts to dynamically access and update the content, structure, and style of the document. Furthermore, it is a process of interacting with the DOM API to modify HTML documents that is to be rendered in the web browser. These HTML documents can be arranged or modified to add elements, remove elements, or edit elements. HTML DOM can be accessed with JavaScript. In DOM, all elements are classified as objects. The programming interface is the properties and methods of each object. A property, the value you can get or set, like changing the content of an HTML element, changing the style, something like that. Why a method is an action you can do, that is maybe add an element or delete an element. Small example changes the content of an element. Hence, this type, since it changes, call it a property. We consider our HTML documents here. To access these documents, we have to target the ID here. And to change the inner HTML, we have to use documents.getElements by ID dot inner HTML and change it to hello world. So this hello world will be added to this paragraph tag, tag. DOM documents. The document object represents the web page. And to access elements in an HTML page, starts by accessing the document objects. So some examples of how to use the document object to access and manipulate HTML elements. Remember, we said method. Method is an action you can do, like adding or deleting an HTML element here. So finding an HTML element, documents.getElement by ID should target all elements in a document a particular element in a document that has an ID. Or it could be by tag name, that is document.getElement by tag name to target all elements that has tag name. ID is specific, only one element can use ID, so to target only that element. But for tag name, you can have various tag names, various elements with same tag name in the document. Same applies to class name too. Changing HTML elements. This one is under properties, since it involves changing, like something you can set. So this element.inner HTML is the same thing as document.getElement by maybe ID, tag, or class name. So anywhere you see elements, that's the same thing as that. So inner HTML to change the inner HTML of a targeted elements. Dot attributes. This one too, to change the attribute value of an HTML element. Element.style.property. This is to change the style of an HTML element. That is the CSS property of that HTML element. While on that method, we have element.setAttributes. This changes the attribute value of an HTML element also. Adding and deleting HTML elements. Document.createElements. This will create an HTML element. Document.removeChild, remove an element. Document.appendChild, add an HTML element. Document.replaceChild, replace an HTML element. Document.writeText, write into an HTML output string. Adding events handlers. This is a method to, since it is either adding or deleting. And to do that, we target maybe an ID, a tag name, or a class name. Yeah. So document.getElement by ID to target a particular ID, by tag name to target various tag names, by class name to target elements having a common class. Dot onClick. This onClick means, okay, maybe when you click a button, or yeah, let's just say a button, a function will be carried out, and this function adds a code written in it. So for description for this, adding event handler code for an onClick event. Finding HTML elements. All these are not majorly used that much. So document.anchors returns all anchor elements that have a name attribute. Document.applets. This one is deprecated. Document.base URI returns the absolute base URI of the document. Document.body returns the body element. Document.hook returns the document scope. Document.doctype returns the document doctype, and so on. For changing HTML styles, so this has been fitted here, where we talked about changing HTML elements. So what it does is to just targets an element by ID dot style dot property to change the HTML styles CSS property. That's elements. DOM navigation. It's HTML DOM, you can navigate the node tree using node relationship. Basically, everything that HTML DOM is a node. So if we go back here, everything here is a node. In this case, the root node is the HTML. Go back. Okay. The parents in a node tree has hierarchical relationship and terms such as parents, child, and sibling are used to describe relationships between the nodes in a node tree. In a node tree, the top node is called the root node. Every node has a parent node, except that root node. Each node can have a number of children. Siblings are nodes with the same parents. Consider this figure here. HTML is the parent node. This head and body, they are child nodes and also sibling nodes. Head is the first child, body is the last child. From the point of head to body, the body is the next sibling, while from the point of body to head, the head is the previous sibling. The following properties can be used to navigate between nodes using JavaScript. We have the parent node, child nodes, first child, last child, next sibling, previous sibling. In summary, DOM manipulation is basically important in web development, as developers make use of it to provide users of web page the ability to create, update, read, and delete files on the web page. Okay. Any questions? Before I ask mine, or should I ask mine first?
All right, thank you for that wonderful presentation on DOM manipulation. We would keep the questions for later. Once Mr. Peters is done, all questions will come in at once. Mr. Peter, are you ready?
I have like 2 more minutes. Just a minute.
Is that?
I just need like 2 more minutes. And okay, I'm going to be sharing my link with him so that he shares screen for me. I think I have an issue with my